Well, hello there. You are listening to Nellyville, the podcast. And I'm Black. Hello, hello, shalom. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of Nellyville, the podcast, the place to be, your favorite spot to just kind of relax, escape, catch up on a little bit of pop culture. You know how we do, little 1 2 1 2. Anyways, with all that being said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful, fabulous start to your fall, to your October. Hey. Get into the festivities. It's time to watch Hocus Pocus. It's time to watch all of the original Disney Channel movies. I love spooky season. We are here for it. Also, I just thought about this. YouTube. I used to do a lot of the Halloween spooky season videos. If you want to go back and binge watch some of that, also, stay posted for this year's Halloween video. Okay? All right. With all that being said, I think we've covered a front of house business. Let's just jump right into some hot topics, darling. First off, let me just start out by saying I think the Super Bowl gonna be lit this year. Nah, I think it's gonna be lit. If you haven't heard, if you're living under a rock, Bad Bunny is going to be at the Super Bowl. I think that this is going to be one of the best ones ever. It's definitely going to be top 3 of the decade. He's going to bring it. He's going to bring the entertainment. He's going to bring the flair. He's going to have people up out of their seats and dancing. This is really great. And I really like the statement that it has. Look, hey, the Latinos need a win right now. Our Hispanic community, the Puerto Ricans, the Rican, they need a win right now because, politically wise, this country is they being kind of shady towards my Latino brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? It ain't right. So NFL, I see where y'all stand and I like it. But a lot of people don't feel the way that we do over here in Nellyville. There's a lot of people that have a lot of discourse, a lot of things to say, and a lot of people who failed 5th grade social studies. Okay, a lot of people who need to get a map. A lot of people need to go learn their history and realize Bad Bunny is an American citizen. Y'all do realize that Puerto Rico is part of America. Okay, so let's let's wake that up. Okay, and then also then you have some people who feel like he's a little too femme. A lot of people are still stuck in their bigoted ways and they don't like to see men be a little feminine, which is crazy to me because a lot of these people were the same people who loved Prince. Y'all gonna sit up and telling me that this man was not femme? A lot of people like the band Kiss. Y'all know the rock band Kiss? Then they wear a whole lot of makeup. Huh? Then we need to go back to the 80s where all the men were wearing black eyeliner and mascara. Your vice president, J.D. Vance, he's even done drag before. So y'all, look, we're not a political channel. We are not going to dip off into it. We don't keep it lighthearted. I'm excited and I'm hoping maybe we might get a guest appearance from Cardi B. Because right after the Super Bowl, I think that's when her concert is going to be kicking off. And I think that would be a really cute little teaser for what her concert is going to have. Represent the women, honey. And that's one of his few songs that he actually has in English. So I think it would be a cute little crossover moment. Look. Needless to say, I think it's going to be a great show, so I can't wait to see it, and we will definitely be talking about it after it happens. Hello. But speaking of Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, have y'all seen them going back and forth? I'm not really going to open it up like that, but it's on my mind because I brought her up. It's really disheartening to see the girls out here arguing in the streets like this. And when you start talking about people's churn, When you bring the kids into it, that's where I draw the line. That's where I really draw the line. She already crossed the line. But, and if you don't know, if you're not caught up on the tea, Nicki Minaj had a whole lot to say to Cardi after Cardi brought out her album for what reason. And they did a lot of going back and forth, which to me is really immature, it's really ugly, it's really distasteful, it's very tacky. But here we are. And then, of course, Nicki Minaj, being the type of person she is, she had to take it a step further. And she started talking about poor little culture, Cardi's daughter. And mostly, I think she said something about, she said something about Wave too. I'm not going to repeat the stuff that she said because we don't speak that way over here on this channel. But the die-hard barbs, as y'all like to call yourselves, stop excusing this woman's behavior. Okay? Nicki is not a girl's girl. She's never tried to help platform anybody else's career. She was the only one for so long. I mean, she was great and she still would have done numbers. I'm not going to take that away. But it's really easy to be number one when you're the only one. Clock that T. And I do like to point out, Cardi did make a great point to Nicki. When Cardi said, why are you comparing yourself to somebody who's 10 plus years younger than you? You need to be comparing yourself to your peers. Taylor Swift, Rihanna, Drake. Those are the people who you need to be comparing your numbers to and comparing the careers and stuff. I'm not even why are you after me? Anyways, I'm not getting into all that. And don't even get me started on Drake. Let me go on the record of saying I used to be a huge Drake fan. I do not like Drake anymore. Let me just wake that up. I don't care for him anymore. And I'm not even going to get into reasons of why, but let's just say what Kendrick Lamar said and They Not Like Us, he wasn't lying. So do with that information what you will. Anyways, we're gonna move right along. Let's really lighten it up. Let's really lighten it up. I want to talk about hairdressers, okay? So there's a story, and this happens all the time. This is just the latest one that I've seen. So you have this client who goes to her stylist, who she's been going to for, long time, for years. And the client wants the stylist to take her hair from like this coppery red to like a platinum blonde. And if you know anything about hair, look, all my hairdressers are like right now are laughing and cringing and cackling. And a lot of you who, who have had a lot of hair color over the years personally, or you've done it for someone else, you know that this is not necessarily impossible, but it is a lot of cards have to align for that to even be possible to do. It can be done, but it does not happen in one session, and your hair has to be at a certain level of health. You need someone who is a colorist, a color specialist. You need it's not recommended, okay, for a reason. And so anyway, the stylist is like, oh, baby, we're not going to do that today. Now, we can gradually, over time, over several sessions, we can get you back to blonde, but we are not going from red to platinum in one day. Like, what? And so the client's all upset. She was like, well, why can't you? And I feel like da 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 da. And the hairstylist is like, well, I told you when you came in here and asked me to put this red in your hair, I asked you, I said, are you sure that you want to go this red? Because if you come in here in a few weeks and you want to go back to blonde, we are not going to be able to do that. Especially not in one session. Do you want to walk out here bald? You can have 1 inch of platinum blonde hair. That's what you're going to have. That's not... Anyways, They went back and forth. And then finally the client was like, well, if you're not going to do it, I'm just going to go somewhere else. And the stylist was like, well, if that's how you feel, sweetie, go ahead. And the girl got up and stomped out. I understand that not everyone has hair knowledge, especially the knowledge you need um, to know how to really keep the integrity and the health of your hair. But if you're going to a professional and the professional is telling you something, we need to trust the professional. We need to trust the professionals. If they are telling you that they cannot do it, and see, the problem is it is some hairstylists out here who do not follow the code of ethics, and they will just take your money and they will do things to your hair that they know that your hair is not healthy enough for or not made for. Sometimes it's not even a matter of health. Sometimes it's just your hair type. And sometimes people will just do it anyway, just to take your money. And then, of course, you have some stylists who are ignorant and they don't know. And, they make mistakes and this, that, and the third. If you go somewhere and a stylist is telling you that they can't be it because of your hair type, your hair health, or just their skill set, so you have some stylists who are prideful and they won't tell you, I don't know how to do that. Please, if I come to you and I'm paying you my money and I'm asking for whatever service and you don't know what you're doing, please tell me you don't know what you're doing. We could do something else. What do you know how to do? Don't experiment on me. I don't need to be the first. If you're going to a stylist for the first time, or even if you've been going for a long time and you're asking for something new, ask to see examples. Be polite about it. Be professional. You could say, hey, I'm thinking about trying something new. Can you show me some example? It's a way to ask without offending somebody. Don't try to test somebody's accolades. Don't try to test someone's education. But like, do you even know how to do this? Let me see. Like, don't do that, because there's two people. If nothing else, there's two types of service industries that you don't want to mess with. Okay. That's people that are handling your food and people who are handling your hair. You need to be sweet and kind, because you don't want nobody to mess with your food, and you certainly don't want nobody playing in your head. Talking about some oops. Okay? I don't want to offend nobody that's holding any kind of hot iron, uh, 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 a relaxer, a scissor, sharp objects, chewing gum, talking about, oh, I'm so sorry, I ain't got time for that. No, you need to be very polite. But, people be so entitled. People be so entitled when they sit down in the chair, and some people, and I don't like those clients that watch every little thing that a stylist does. And some of it comes from trauma. Some people, it's hard to find a good stylist. And when you bounce from chair to chair, it can be kind of hard to just sit there and relax and and just trust the process. But you have to. No one likes to be micromanaged and to have people looking over your shoulder and this and that and the third. Don't. Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna go see if I can find some way or another a follow up on that girl. I wonder if she came crawling back after her hair done melted off. Now, for people, if you don't want to go research and understand, well, why couldn't she take the red out? Because obviously, in most cases, you have to lighten hair to put the red over it. So a lot of people think, well, just take the red color out, wash it out, want to be blonde underneath. Here's the thing. Yes, you do bleach hair to put even colors like red. Put any color on. That's how you have to bleach hair and then add the color. You can't dye, dark brown or black hair. Okay, I think we know that much. When you want to reverse, there's certain pigments that really, really love hair. And red, the color, those red colors really, just really love a hair molecule. They love it. Red gets all up in there. Okay. Now other colors like a blue, the blues, the greens, certain purples, those will wash out of your hair with a good rain. Okay, there's some there, and then it depends on the type of hair that you have. Is your hair more porous? Do you have thin hair, thick hair? Do you have curly hair? Do you have dry hair? Do you have oily hair? Those are all factors that are going to determine how long your hair color lasts. But it's really really hard to get red out, and so it's not enough. Even whether you have a demi-permanent color, semi-permanent, it doesn't matter. It's really really hard to get that out. So even with a bleach wash, you're still gonna have to re-bleach the hair. Now, some people's hair can take a whole lot of bleach, but at the end of the day, that is damage. There are healthy techniques to do when bleaching the hair, but at the end of the day, it's causing damage. And even if you can have the healthiest head of hair, if you bleach it even one time, it's going to damage the integrity of that hair. There's no getting around it. And so when you go through all of the stress of trying to get that red out, then you got to go back in and re-bleach, baby. If you still have hair after all of that, it's going to be straw. It's going to be dry as hell. Your scalp is going to be burnt. It's just... So look, if you're going to go blonde, keep your blonde. If you want to change up your look, I recommend switching over to a wig, unless you know absolutely for sure you want to get rid of that blonde. But I would still recommend get you a wig. Use some of these AI apps or something. See what you look like with the red. Live with that red wig, or some kind of an install or something. Tracks, snap in, whatever you want to do. I would say try it out for a couple months. See if you like it. And if you don't, well, at least you still have your blonde and you can maintain it. And then if you like it, then you can feel comfortable about, okay, let's do it. Because it's, and I would say the same thing for anything. If you're doing a drastic haircut, if you're going to do something drastic to your hair, yeah, do some kind of a test first. But anyways, that's enough on hair care. I got a kick out of that because people love going to stylists and think they know everything. That tickles me. I want to switch over. We're going to take a hard left. Did y'all hear about this story? So there was a 6-year-old little kid who was some way or another accidentally taken to daycare. So this mother, she goes to the elementary school to pick up her kid. What it was, first grader or whatever. She's in the carpool line. All the other kids are coming out. They bring in, and they keep going to them. And so finally, they came to the car and said, "Ma'am, your child is not here." "What do you mean my child's not here?" This mother got out of the car. She's like, what do y'all mean?" So of course the mother calls the police. So the principal and the teachers established that they're looking for this child. They try and figure out. They finally figure out your child accidentally got sent to the daycare. So the mother calls the daycare. The daycare is like, "We don't have your child either. We don't have any record of that kid." So at this point, now the mother is irate, rightfully so. "Where's my child? What do you mean?" So then the principal's like, "Oh, yeah, the child got on the van. He's en route. They're bringing him back." And the mother's like, "Well, I just called and said they didn't have him. So which one is it?" The police are up there. It was this big, huge thing. And I'm just like, how did that happen? Now, she did get her little boy back and everything. But I'm just like, the teacher who she walked her child to the classroom that morning, or handed the child off to the teacher that morning. And the mother said that the teacher was like, "Oh, I thought you said that he was going to daycare today." Now, this, let me just add this. It's a daycare that child is not registered to. The child is signed up as a car rider. The mother had no affiliation with that daycare. Do you know how much paperwork on not only the school, but with the daycare itself that you have to go through to sign up your child, and all the paperwork that you have to fill out to have agreements, and all the logistics that you have to set up for them to be enrolled in that daycare, just to okay, the transportation from school to the daycare. Like, it seemed very, very shady and peculiar to me, because I'm just trying to figure out, how did that child's name get added to the daycare list? It seems very, it's very odd. And then when the mother calls the daycare and the daycare is like, "We don't have your child," but then the principal was like, "Oh, yes, they do have him. They're sending him back." It just seemed like a lot of people. It seems very bizarre to me, because here's the thing: don't gaslight me and tell me, like, I know you have a lot of kids. Did you get my child confused with somebody else? Because I didn't tell you that he was going to daycare today. And y'all know that y'all have rules and regulations and stuff. If I said that, you wouldn't just say, okay. You would say, "Oh, okay, well, is he signed up? He'll need to be on the list. Let me check and let me make sure he's on the list. Yeah, you're good to go. Okay." Like, so I don't know if that teacher got the little boy confused with another child in the class. Maybe they had the same name, a similar look. This was towards the beginning of the year. I could see a teacher kind of getting confused with parents that, But how did this little boy make it on the list? And then, even if they accidentally got added on the school list, the daycare, when they get on the bus, did the bus driver have a list, or the van, whoever is in charge of? Do y'all see what I'm saying? It just seemed like a very odd setup. And she got a little bit of the recording of when she's in the office, and they just kind of, they didn't seem panicked enough to me that y'all have lost my child. Y'all have lost a student. There's not enough, you know. I'm not saying that they need to be in there panicking with the mother, but they were acting like, "Oh, we lost a phone, we lost a purse." Not, we lost a whole 6-year-old is unaccounted for. And then another aspect of it that I was thinking about, I can remember being 6, and I know some 6-year-olds, and I've been around a lot of 6-year-olds, and I'm just trying to think, was this something where the little boy wanted to, like, because I'm trying to remember, did the little boy say, "My mom said I'm going to daycare"? Which, if that's the case, why would you listen to a child? Well, but your mother didn't sign you up, so you can't go. So, but I'm trying to figure out, did the little boy sneak onto the van? Did he just hop out of the car rider line, join the daycare kids? Because he wanted to go? Because I didn't really see the reaction of the child when she finally got her child back. And then she showed like a little video of him when he was at home, and he looked like he was perfectly fine. He didn't seem like he was upset or anything. And not to say that he wasn't upset, but I know if I'm 6 and I know I'm a car rider, and my teacher's telling me, "You got to get on this van to go to this other place," I don't think that I would have got on that van. Even if my teachers tell, because I know I'm a car rider. Now, I don't know if this little boy has ever been to daycare before, if he's never been, but even if I've been to daycare before, even if at 6, you know how you're going home. You know how you're getting to school. You know how you're going home. You have a routine. You know who's picking you up. And if somebody says something different, something about that's not gonna sit right in my spirit. yeah, you listen to your teacher, but if it's the end of the day and you telling me I'm going to some other place outside of school and it's not a field trip and we not all going, I'm gonna have some questions as a 6-year-old. I'm gonna cause a scene. I'm not getting on that van. You need to call my mother. I need to hear my parent, my guardian, my grandmother, my father, my I need whoever normally picks me up. I need to hear them. I need to see them tell me that this is what's happening. You got it confused. I'd rather stay right here at this school and get in trouble by my mother for not getting on that van than for me to get on this van that I don't think I'm supposed to be on. And as a teacher, if that little boy was like, "Yeah, I'm supposed to get on," some teachers are naive. Why would a little kid lie? If they're supposed to go to daycare, then okay. Don't do that. I'm not now, but always believe children in certain circumstances. But with stuff like that, stuff that you can fact check, don't believe kids. Kids will sometimes kids just have it wrong. Sometimes kids make stuff up. Sometimes as 6-year old kids can be conniving. I'm sorry, they can be. And but I just I did leave a comment on the video. I can't remember everything that I said, but I did point out to the mother, this could also be a good conversation about, you know, something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I did say this would be a good time to have a safety conversation about, if other adults are breaking our routine. Especially, at least in the regards of who's picking you up from school. This would be a good time to tell your child, Mom will always pick you up. Unless in the morning, or unless I call during the day and tell you if something were to ever change, you will always know. So if someone tries to do something different, you don't do that different. Because, yeah, if your teacher's telling you to do something, you're going to do it. But I feel like 6 is too old. Not too old, but it's old enough to know that I don't think this is right. And I don't know. Y'all let me know something. Do y'all remember being 6? Okay, this is gonna be first grade. Maybe kindergarten for some people, depending, right? Yeah, depending on your age, your birthday, time of year. Kindergarten, first grade, right? Would you, if you knew that you were a car rider, or if you knew you were a bus rider and whatever, if you were getting out of school and someone's telling you something different from what you know is your routine, what would you do? Would you just go along with it because you would trust it? Would you be upset? Would you be scared? Would you cry? Would you ask to call your mother? Should 6-year-olds have cell phones for these situations? I mean, also, I heard about a story, it was like a 5-year-old or something got left on a bus somewhere, and thankfully they had a cell phone. They called their mother and was like, they left me on this bus, and the mom was able to get, and maybe if that kid didn't have that cell phone, they would have just been on there for I don't know. So it's a very bizarre story. But anyways, I would just say this: if you have kids, even kids in high school, you would think they would know these things by then, but just don't ever be so sure that your kid knows safety things. I encourage you to have to really make sure and understand that they know this is exactly what's supposed to happen in all of these situations. If you have your kids signed up in sports and extracurriculars, anytime that you have to be away from your child, just be very sure that everyone is on the same page and that your child knows that this is exactly what's going to happen. And so that way they know if things don't happen the way my parent, my guardian, my trusted adult, if it doesn't happen that way, then I'm gonna know, that's not what That's not what mom said. Just always have a very clear plan. I encourage you to have safety words and stuff for your kids. If they have, if they're middle school, high school, or if they are cell phone age, and have a safety word that they can, if they need to call you, if they got to text it really quick, that you know what it is. Hopefully kids and stuff are never in that, or are in that situation. Have a family meeting and decide, okay, if we text this word, it means that this situation is happening. Okay. And you can, because maybe you might not have, maybe they can't call you and say exactly what's going on, or maybe they don't have time to text a whole paragraph trying to explain. But if you say that the secret word is duck, hey, if you text the word duck, then I know that this is happening. I can show up to this place, and you see what I'm saying? It's just very bizarre. And I think and I don't know, this is all conjecture of just the information I got from the video. What I think really happened was, I think that the little boy had some friends that go to the daycare, and he wanted to go. And 6-year-olds being 6-year-olds, some 6-year-olds are very adventurous. And because he really wanted to go, told the teacher, well, my mom said I am supposed to go. I am supposed to go. And he told this to a naive teacher, right? Who did not do their due diligence to make sure that the little boy was being honest. And then I think that the administration and the teacher and stuff was just trying to cover their tracks and try to cover up. And didn't want to say that this teacher, and didn't want to throw the child under the bus. That's what I think happened. So also, question your kids. When things go wrong, check the adults, obviously, because they're the ones that are responsible. They're the ones with the fully developed brain. For those of us who are over 25, 26. But check your kids. Because kids are very smart. Kids are very creative. And a lot of times they don't really know that what they're doing wrong is as scary as it is. Sometimes they just want to have fun. That little boy probably wasn't necessarily trying to run away or anything. But he wanted to go be with his friends. And I hope that you don't scare your kids, but let them know that this is very dangerous and that it is unacceptable. Because your child. You know if they feel guilty, if they feel remorseful, if they did some slick shit on purpose. But that was very bizarre. And I know if I can't pick up my child and they weren't there, oh baby. Oh baby. If I come pick up my dog, you know what I'm saying? Let alone somebody's child. That's But anyways, that was the latest greatest on that. Y'all be safe out here. I always have a plan, family plan. Whether you have kids or not, have a family plan. Get you some code words. Switch up the code words too. Maybe every 6 months. Maybe you and the immediate family, maybe a couple extended family, or just everybody have a plan, have a keyword. It's crazy out here. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This has been great. I'm glad we had a kiki. Tune in next week. I think this is what? Is this episode 9? I think this is episode 9. So we have one more episode next week. So we gotta do something cute for the finale this morning. We gotta do something cute for the finale, yo. Cat to the click cat with my ow. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, I'm rambling. Anyways, y'all have a great weekend. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Okay, bye.